Go. And we're live.
Hey, and welcome to a new episode of Pacecast. I'm Tijs from NJRC. On the left of me, on the other side of the screen, we have James Simpson from the UK.
That's me.
Hey, and we're happy we're back with another episode of our podcast. Last week was fun, a live stream for about an hour or so, and today we're trying to do exactly the same.
Yes.
So just off the bat, let's start with saying that we want to accept all questions. If you are in the live chat on YouTube, I have it on my screen right here.
Yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on it.
So we can answer some of your questions, or if you have any comments, feel free to send us any input.
Yeah, for sure.
Always appreciated.
And if we can't get to it in this episode, we'll come back to it on another week.
Definitely. So if you're watching this not live but later, feel free to comment as well, because we'll have a look before the next episode, and then we can cover whatever questions we have left. For today we have a bit of a planning. As always, we're going to talk about some new products that have come out this week. We have a few lined up. We're going to talk about what we've done the past week, RC related, maybe drifting, maybe not. And we have some questions from last week. So Martin asked about some of the rare items that we have.
Yeah.
So we're going to go over some of those. I have a big stack of stuff right here next to me that I'll show you in a bit.
The rarest of rare.
Over that. Some of it, yeah, for sure. Or at least special to me. That's our program today. So if you have any questions about any of those things, then feel free to ask. So yeah, James, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Sorry, I've just to explain to everyone, I'm just making sure everything's working. We've made some changes this week, so it's a little bit techie, and we've just found some bugs that I've just fixed, so making sure they're actually fixed. But all looks good.
Okay.
But yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so every week we're trying to improve the stream a little bit.
Yeah.
It is live, so it's prone to bugs and
yes, for sure.
problems, but let's hope it sticks with us for about an hour or so.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, so what have you been up to the last week since we talked?
On Saturday I went to a track I've never been to before. Some will have seen it on my Facebook and stuff already, but I went to Ronin Drift Lounge, which is just over an hour from me in Leicestershire in the UK, and it's real fun. It's a pretty small track, but it's only been open a month or so they've already got plans to expand and make it bigger. And actually, if I'm right in thinking that, I understand they're going to collaborate with another track and merge the two together so they can have a bigger space, which will be good. But it's a small carpet track. It's a pretty tight technical layout. In fact, I do have some pictures if I remember to fire them up. But they're just a couple of little snaps I took on the day. But yeah, I made a little video, which is the first time I've done that at a track, which was good fun. A bit of a challenge for me because I'm not really that video minded, but you've got to learn, haven't you? But
that's why we're doing this live, probably. No editing required.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we got. But it's like most of the tracks in the UK, it runs on MST Silver Dot tyres, and the grip was pretty good. It was fairly consistent, which is the big thing I look for. It doesn't matter to me if the track is high or low grip. It's just that it's the same grip everywhere. I think that's the big thing I always struggle with, is when you go to a track that's been treated and the carpet is totally different on one corner to another. That's a little annoyance for me.
So the MST Silver Dots, they're still the classics, still the go-to.
Yeah, for sure.
In a lot of cases.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And to be honest, well, we use them at cookies. I use them everywhere, and they're normally the tyre that works absolutely everywhere, which is kind of good.
Yeah, last time at cookies, it was my set from 2013 or 14 that I bought and still use, and they're still good. So.
Yeah, that's the sign you're using them in the right places. But yeah, Ronin's good. It's small pits, small track, good vibe, like fun, happy vibe, not too serious. The layout was pretty good. Like I say, it's a bit tight in places for me. I mean, you can see in the picture that's on the screen now. Actually, if those cars are 90 degrees to the wall, it's only, it's 1.5 car length in width, so it's a little bit tight in a couple of spots. But they've done the best they can with the space they've got. And it's like I say, it's fun and it's local, so I'll be back there again for sure. And it's I put a different picture up there. You can see it's To be honest, I forgot to ask the guys how big it is, but I would guess it was like 8 or 9 meters long and maybe 5 or 6 wide.
Pretty small. Yeah.
I could be completely wrong with those numbers, but that's what I'm remembering. But yeah, it was good, and it was like I say, it was a quiet day, chilled, just happy vibes, and just did a few laps. I didn't change my car too much because I was still on cookie settings, but and it was good enough. It wasn't a high speed day. It wasn't serious competition driving or anything like that. So I just left it easy to drive and just tried to follow people and have fun.
Yeah, and I also watched the video you posted on your channel, same channel as this podcast is on. So if you want to have a look, then I would say go watch after this.
Yeah,
but it looked nice. A bunch of really nice body shells there as well.
Yeah.
The one that stood out to me obviously was the classic Toyota, one of the GX71 Mark IIs.
Yep.
Green one.
That's Jack's.
That looked really good, and the rest as well. A couple really nice Nissans and stuff. So I always appreciate seeing some good-looking body shells that are being driven, not some bashers or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think mine was probably the most basher-like shell there because it's long dual replacement, but it's been I don't know, it's hanging on for now until I get a chance to
also
the
oldest one. Probably the oldest one on track too.
Maybe. Well, it's only 18 months or something, but it looks like it's a lot worse. Yeah, I think I did that for the trip to Japan in October 2018. I think.
Yeah.
But
so almost getting on 2 years then.
Yeah, and it's been bashed around for sure. It's had every part of it pulled off by airport baggage handlers at some point.
And stickered up all the way.
Yeah, always covered.
That's the good thing about one of those.
Yeah,
all the memorabilia from Japan and wherever.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of my favourite things. I think I've talked to you about it before, but I'm a big fan of all the stickers you get as gifts from people. So if somebody gives me a sticker, it ends up on a body. And if I go to Japan with a clean shell, it comes back completely covered. And now ends up where they're covering the roof and all over the place, which is kind of cool for me.
See, I never do that. I never put them on my body shell because once I swap out the body shell, I think it's a shame that you lose some of the stickers.
Yeah.
So my pit bag is one that I always have with me. So that one is plastered in the front with everyone's stickers. So
yeah, I think I probably changed
bigger ones.
I probably changed pit bags quicker than I changed bodies, to be honest. So,
really?
Yeah.
No,
it probably works. It works the other way around for me.
Mine's perfect. The 1/8 scale, you can fit everything.
Yeah.
It's great. So even the bigger stickers now I can put on something, which is always something I used to save in a bag or an envelope somewhere and then lose and find 5 years later. But yeah. So how far away is it from you, the track?
So in theory it's about an hour, but in reality it's like an hour and 15 or an hour and 20 with a bit of traffic, and we've got some pretty bad weather in the UK at the moment, so the drive home was a little slower than normal, and watching lorries almost tip in, and it's pretty sketchy with the high winds.
You guys weren't the only ones. I had the same last weekend as well when I came back from my event, and I was in the middle of the highway just overtaking someone and my wipers just got stuck. So
really?
I was blind for a bit. But that's the good thing about having your RC cars in your car. You always have tools as well. So I could just stop on the side of the road in the rain, in the storm.
Lovely. Done that. Been that.
And keep going.
I had that problem once with an S14 with the wipers just stopping on the worst possible day for it. But
yeah, exactly. That's when you really find out.
So which event did you go to?
So every year, because I live in Eindhoven now, almost 12 years already, but I used to live quite a bit away, and I used to race there at the local club. So they have an event there, I think already for probably 20 years. It's the biggest hobby show in the Netherlands, maybe even outside of that a little bit as well.
Okay.
But they do a demonstration there. So they put on a big carpet track. They do a bit of drifting, bit of racing, a bit of everything to basically show what RC racing is about, and try to get some people to join in as well, either in the club or just in general, just to promote the hobby. So yeah, I'm still a bit of an honorary member of the club, I guess.
Yeah.
So I get invited back every year, and it's always fun to do a bit of racing with all the different cars. This one as well, and then I always bring my drift car as well because people are interested in it. They see it on YouTube.
Yeah.
it stands out. I mean, it's a bright pink body shell with glitters and a big wing and bright neon wheels, and it gets a lot of questions. But it's always funny to see how little people still know about RC drifting.
Yeah.
Even someone who's into RC cars already for years, they know it exists, but that's about it.
Yeah.
So they're super interested in seeing rear-wheel drive, seeing a gyro, seeing the different tires, because they're used to HPI Sprint 2 drift packs or something.
Yeah, that they saw in a model shop 10 years ago. And
yeah, exactly, which isn't really a drift car.
No.
It slides, but that's about it.
Yeah.
So seeing something like this is always interesting and get a lot of questions. So yeah, that's always fun. I ended up breaking almost all of my cars.
I was going to say, so what were you racing?
A bunch of different things. So I usually bring minis, the M chassis.
Yeah.
That's always fun. They usually stay alive too. I got a brand new Express XM1. So it's a 4-wheel drive mini, which is the full hop-up.
When you say mini, you mean M chassis? Or,
yeah. They used to call it minis because those were the first body shells that were on it, but mine's a comical looking Porsche. But I ended up breaking one of the front shafts. So they're the fancy ones with the double joints.
Okay, yeah.
Didn't last.
No.
So that one snapped. 3-wheel drive. Broke my friend's Formula 1 car with an exotic conversion kit on it.
That's a good move.
So I sourced the parts for those already, so they're on the. Yeah, it's always good fun to do a bit of racing as well.
And what was it indoor carpet then?
Yeah. So it's in one of those convention halls. Pretty big track actually, which is nice because everyone else has to do with a little bit of space, and the racing track always gets a lot.
Yeah, and did you manage to do any drifting on the track, or was it purely just showing it off?
I try not to because there's no specific time slots. So when you're driving your expensive drift car in between a bunch of crashing M chassis,
there's no downtime with free and empty tracks then.
No, sometimes, but I also want to race. So
yeah, and I suppose this time you had to fix the broken cars and.
No, I had plenty. So when I broke one,
just move on to the next one.
I think I broke 3 in the weekend.
Wow.
So
good move. Good move. It's been a while since I broke a car where I couldn't carry on.
It's all small stuff, so it's all good. But if you don't have the spares, then it's a no-go. That's why we bring a lot. Yeah,
just keep stacking them up. Extra haulers, not full of parts, just new cars.
Yeah, I mean, it's all part of the hobby. It's fine.
I suppose some of the Tamiya stuff has to be cheap enough that it's probably just as easy to have a spare car.
Yeah, but I don't race those anymore.
No.
I stopped doing that. I want the fancy stuff. I'm oiled now. I want everything carbon and
okay, you stepped up. You've been spoiled by drift cars, I guess.
They just look pretty. That's all.
Yeah.
They go out once a year, so it doesn't really matter. They're sitting on the shelf, so they need to look nice. But yeah, then it's all a bit more rare. But we'll get to the rare stuff in a bit.
Yeah, man.
What about some of the?
I was just gonna say a quick hello to everyone in chat. Saying hello.
All right. I see Bouk is watching already. Of
course. With questions, which is good.
We'll get to those, I guess.
So should we move on to our news?
Sure.
Well, I guess in that case we should probably talk about the new Overdose wheels, the T7R, the Work Emotion T7R R-Specs, which I think everyone's pretty excited to see. It's rare for Overdose to do. I was going to say it's rare for Overdose to do funky colours like this. They obviously did the batch for Yida last year or the year before. I forget. I think the year before.
I think they're still available, but
yeah, for sure.
The bright yellow ones.
Yeah, I ran them for quite a while, but unfortunately, when you run just the same wheels constantly, you end up with bent ones and scuffed up dirty ones, and I have no more clean ones, so I'm back to white wheels and black wheels at the moment from Overdose. But I'll be definitely picking up a few pairs of each of these colours, I think.
I was happy to see the colors because I've been looking for bright yellow R-Spec since I changed to bright yellow on my color scheme.
Yeah.
Since the trip to Cookies, I really like it. But most of the high traction wheels, let's call it that, they're white. So
yeah, Yokomo have some, but they're not the strongest in terms of high traction levels. But they look cool. But it's good to see these. And I think the thing I'm looking forward to with these as well is actually this is one of my favourite work wheels anyway. I've been a bit, I don't know, I've been looking for a new wheel design, and I'm somebody who likes spokey wheels. I like T37s, I like 57Cs and that kind of thing. So T7Rs are generally my favourite. I'm not really into the big dish thing anymore. It's kind of been and gone for me. So I like the sort of more sport wheels, I suppose you could call them. But definitely
they look a bit more modern. So it depends really on the body shell, I guess. I mean, you're running a Mark X, so then this works. This is the
it's generally
right period.
For me. It's generally 4 doors. So that's what they work for.
Yeah. No, I'm very happy with the colors, and I'm happy that they're doing different models too, because they had the CRKs for quite a while.
Yeah.
Which I think pretty much everyone has on their car at the moment.
Yes,
I've seen a lot of them at Cookies and at the Worlds, and before that even too.
Yeah.
And they were the first R-Spec ones, right?
Yeah.
From Overdose.
Yeah. And I've been running them pretty much since, to be honest. I think I put some of the Yida wheels on. I think I've had some M8Rs on, but it always just goes back to CL Kiwamis just every time.
They're a classic.
And especially with the blacks that came in the set of 4, and you had the 2 different offsets, it just worked for me because that's what I run anyway, generally. These are only coming in 7mm, which I think disappoints a few people. But I think the reality is, from Overdose's point of view, it's 7mm is what 95% of people buy, so they might as well sell what people want and not worry about the others until maybe later. But from my understanding, they will only do 7mm in this design. And I think it's also partly to do with the spokes look much better in this, and they've tweaked the hub X for more strength and things like that as well. And I think the new design on these doesn't really lend itself to the other offset without some more work. So yeah, for now it's just 7s, but we do have all the colours. And I think
I think a 5mm offset would also work pretty well. I think 7 might be a bit much for some of the front ends.
Well, I think the thing that how it works generally in Japan at the moment is almost everyone is running 7s. They've gone to a slightly bigger scrub radius. I ran 5s for the longest time, and last year I think it was I switched to 7s, and I've got more speed, more control. And so I think it's just the current trend in Japan is 7mm is good, 5mm is far less popular. I mean, there was a time a few years ago when they Overdose brought out a load of 3mm wheels, and then nobody's interested whatsoever.
No, those are usually the ones you see still hanging on the rack. Also with the top lines and other brands where they also have some 3mm ones.
Yeah, for sure. Or in the box, the marked for discounts generally.
Yeah. I get excited when I see a rare set of wheels in there.
Yeah, if only.
Never mind. 3 or 12.
It's either way too big or way too small. That's generally the option when you find them. But I think the yellow looks super cool. The pink is probably going to be the colour I go for, I think. I'm going to get them all just so I've got options later down the line. But I think the pink looks super cool. And then the green, I think, will probably be one of the most popular. The green for the M8R was not the most popular, but I think it was a much darker green. These are all fluorescent colours, so I think they're more likely to be picked up and chosen by a lot of people because they stand out and you can see the details much better because they're brighter. I don't know. I think they're going to be super popular. People on Facebook seem to be going crazy for them already.
Even the old ones, there's quite a few people still looking for them.
For sure.
The teal and orange and whatever other colors they had. So.
Yeah, for sure.
So what about the R-Spec itself? Because it's a high traction wheel.
Yeah, it's sort of the original high traction wheel, really. I think Topline made something that was considered high traction, but they didn't really sell it as that. But so the R-Spec basically just means that it's a softer barrel, which essentially means the wheel can deform to a little bit to give you a bit more traction on hard surfaces. It does work on carpet as well, but the biggest benefit is when you run them on concrete or asphalt or P-tile or something like that. But they do considerably change the way the car feels, as well as maybe adding a significant amount of grip to certain chassis. But for me, it's all about the feeling. When I run the R-Spec, you just have a bit more traction feel as to when you're finding the traction on the hard surfaces. A lot of guys in Japan will also run R-Spec on the front and a normal wheel on the back when they're on carpet, on the belief that the harder wheel will dig into the carpet and get more traction. But then you'll talk to other guys and they think it's the other way around, where the R-Spec will give you higher traction. So I think a lot of it will also depend on your settings and the way you drive and the aggression of your throttle and that kind of thing. But for me, they work great. I've on most of my trips to Japan, I use them everywhere. On the last trip, I took them off for the competition I was at, because I was drifting next to somebody and I managed to bend a wheel by hitting wheel on wheel. And so I left it until I got to the competition, assuming that there'd be some available to buy there, and there wasn't. So I ended up having to run something else, which I forget what I ran, which I was a bit disappointed about, because it was the first year I've been to the competition there where the R-Specs weren't available on the Overdose booth. But yeah, I saw these when I was there, and I think they're the most detailed mould I think Overdose have done. So I think they look awesome. They've done the white ones already, again, also only in 7mm, and I just think they look amazing.
So what about the noise and stuff? Because that's something you can really tell from some of the stiffer wheels.
Yeah.
Do you see any difference there, or?
I have noticed on certain tracks, on P-Tile it does make a difference, I think, but it also depends on tyres. And one of the things I've also noticed is older tyres have a different sound to newer tyres and things like that. So it's sometimes a bit hard to judge, because so much depends on settings. Like, for example, at Shift, last time I was there, it's a P-Tile track, and half the guys were running Kashigari style. They're running much slower with much more body movement, and some of those guys were running like 2.8, 2.9 kilo chassis. Wow. And so they make a very different noise to somebody that's 1,400 grams fully loaded with a body, and R-Spec wheels, because that's what they're going for. But actually, one of the guys I talked to about the Kashigari stuff was running the R-Spec wheels because he felt like it gave him more ability to control the body roll. So it's not just all about speed. I think it's just like I say, for me, it's a feeling thing. I like the way they feel. I like the way they help you find the traction, and inevitably there is a little bit more traction available to you. It's not 50% more traction or anything crazy, but if you've got the option and you want to be fast, then I think they're definitely a good option for you.
And maybe also when you have a lot of camber change or a lot of toe in, toe out, you might notice it more. I can imagine that then the stress on the wheels a little bit more than when you run everything parallel and straight up.
Yeah. So Vivian's got a question in chat related to this. He's asking about if you fit a hard tyre onto the soft barrel, doesn't it defeat the purpose? No, because it's not just when I haven't actually got a wheel to hand, but when you pick up a wheel and just squeeze it, then that's not exactly what's happening with when you're driving the car. I mean, there is an element of, there is a bit of suspension and deflection available, but what's also happening is you have the spokes and you have the barrel, and there is a rotational twist that's available that can help the tyre bite into the surface. So it's not just about the roundness of the tyre, but also you can still flex the tyre. It's just obviously a lot firmer than when the wheel doesn't have one on. But it's more. You've also got the face of the wheel and the barrel, and you also have this movement available, which the tires will actually deflect more than you think they will. You can sort of test it, but it's, like I say, it's also the rotational side of things is the biggest improvement. So the spokes on these have been heavily worked to. I don't think there's any images of the fluorescent ones available with the back of the spokes pictured, but the white ones, they showed it off and they basically hollowed it out and spent some time making sure they got that dialed in and sorted. But that's the biggest improvement, is to do with essentially where the spokes are connecting to the barrel, to be perfectly honest. But obviously with the way, one of the things that people were doing for a while was cutting the back of their wheels because that made them softer, but it's not the same because the face of the wheel was super rigid still, and so they didn't really work that well. Which is one of the ways I found out that's the biggest improvement that these have.
And maybe with a harder tire, you might actually notice it more, or at least the difference between the wheels. Yeah,
they'll definitely highlight it differently, for sure. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question anyway.
He says okay, so there you go.
Yeah, all good.
So what else did we have this week coming out? I
S-
think Pandora came out with a new body shell as well.
Yeah, we got a new body. And we will start with this picture. So it's a bit of a wild looking GT86 with a BN Sports kit, which I don't know if it's. I'm assuming it's a BN Sports kit that is available. It's not one I've seen before.
Yes. No, BN Sports came out with a line of body kits. I think it's a couple of years ago.
Okay.
So the RX-7 was first, which Pandora has also made. They released it weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then this one, which is completely different from what we're used to. The old blister kits from BN Sports.
Yeah, for sure.
This is, I think, their new new style.
It makes me think very much a 326 power.
Yeah, I think they use actually some of those kits.
I figured it must. I mean, the bonnet looks very similar to something I've seen before on a 326 power car, so I'm assuming it's what they're running. But like I say, I sort of haven't really followed the BN Sports scene for quite a few years, since it was the massive blister kits and all of that style of thing.
Yeah, that was the classic drift look, but I think this is more the modern way of doing things. If you look at some of the newer Kazama kits you're going to see in Formula Japan this year.
Yeah.
It all looks pretty similar with all the fins and all the crazy aero.
Yeah, for sure.
Super aggressive body kits. And I have to say, I really like this one. The RX-7 I wasn't sold on. It looks a bit like cartoony, let's say. Maybe
I think this looks just crazy. I mean, it's like the most recent S15 they did in the right color. That body looks amazing, but I've seen some that have been painted and they look a bit strange because some colors highlight odd shapes that are on it that don't look that great. I think this looks good. Unfortunately, I've got to apologise for the size of the pictures on these because these are from their Facebook page and they're only 640 pixels wide, so they're tiny. But I have got a bunch to go through. I'm just going to change them every now and then. You can see the detail on the front of that is pretty cool. I'm assuming, I assumed this was a multi-piece body.
It is. It's a lot of pieces actually.
Well, this to me looked like it's a front bumper, and then it also looks like maybe there's an over fender, or whether they've just painted that part and put screws in. I'm not sure.
I think it's mostly the bottom half of the fender that you're going to have separate.
Yeah.
So where you see all of the fins sticking out
behind the wheel,
you couldn't really do as a mod release.
Yeah.
So those are all separate pieces. So I'm very curious to see what it looks like when you actually have to build it.
Yeah.
Because this seems to be something that's happening a lot now with a bunch of the body shells in many different pieces, and it looks absolutely amazing. But to drive it or to build it, it's a lot of work.
And I've bought a couple of bodies over the years where I opened the box and gone, this is going to be too much hassle. Like I just wanted a simple body, and it's ended up being like 22 pieces or something, and then you need to fix everything, so you have the added weight of all of that. And for me, the thing I always struggle with when you've got a multi-part body like that is how's it going to travel? Like if it's in a suitcase, what's it going to end up like when you arrive at the other end? So I tend to get a bit scared of. I'm more interested in doing one lately than I have been for a while, but for years I avoided it just purely because of the complications that come with it and my lack of skills, to put it bluntly.
I think one of the most difficult things about it is to get color control.
Yes.
Especially if you're doing something crazy like metallics or pearls or anything like that. Getting the exact same color on each of the parts, it's really tricky.
Yeah, I mean, even the amount of time, I think my PS13 that I did back in like 2015, that was almost perfect color matching apart from one spot on the bonnet that was painted separately, and it was painted exactly the same time as the rest, in exactly the same orientation as the rest, but something to do with the way the paint or the air flowed over the bonnet meant that at the front there was a very light patch, just a tiny little bit in the corner, so I ended up having to have a sticker over it. As you do,
especially if you're doing it with Tamiya cans or something.
Yes,
it's not only very difficult, but it also uses a lot of paint, which I really don't like.
Yeah,
because you have so much overspray over everything. If you're painting a little piece like this, but your spray pattern is like that, you're basically wasting half or more of the paint, which is
for sure. And it's also really easy to end up putting too much paint on. And causing defects and problems because you've overloaded the paint. So there, obviously, as you do more, you get more skills. But it's the problem I have is I paint one body a year, maybe maybe 1.5, 2 bodies on average, but I don't build up the practice and I don't build up the skills. So when I do one, they're inevitably disappointing too often.
I have to say the airbrush really helps because you can go so slow. You can put so little paint down that you can very easily even everything out, but it takes a lot of time.
My next body will be my first finished airbrushed, exclusively airbrushed. So we'll see. So I've been holding off doing my next drift body because I have a feeling it's not going to go so great. So I'm planning to paint my TCR body. I think it's a warm-up body. It'll do. It doesn't matter if it goes bad because it's going to get smashed around. But yeah, it should be good.
You can always sticker it up, paint it on the outside. There's always ways to fix it.
Oh, I know all of the ways. So anyway, the back of this GT86, it looks kind of cool, but also that looks like a sort of stock diffusery part to me. It's a bit weird. Like, I know it's not. It's a bit exaggerated, but it's like I'm assuming it's how the kit goes. So it must be accurate, and I'm sure it looks good. The only thing I did see on one of the other pictures that I'll put up in a bit is, in fact, I'll switch to it now. Is the light buckets look really weird on this one.
Especially the rear ones, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know if it's just the way this one's been painted, but it looks like you're going to have to tint that lens or something to hide the details on that because it sort of, I don't know, maybe it's just the way this person's adjusted them or drilled the holes out or done something. Because on the previous picture it looks much better. But
I think if you drill out all of the dimples and put some LEDs in it, light it up, it's probably going to look pretty cool.
Yeah,
I think that's the intention for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, Vivian just mentioned he does 30 bodies a year.
Yeah.
30 plus. See, that's where you get to practice. That's how you get to that skill.
I was going to say that's something I need to do at some point, but probably not for at least 5 years, I think.
No time.
But yeah, so what do you think? Are you going to pick up this body or?
I don't know. I mean, I only have Toyota body shells, so this would fit in perfectly well. But I don't know, man. Like the Pandora bodies, I'm always a bit on the fence on them because on the one hand they're super cool and the body kits and all of the different models they have, it's great. Quality, I don't know.
I think the quality's far better than they used to be. I mean, I've got a Pro Box here that when I was cutting it out, it literally tore. Fortunately, along the correct line, but the side skirt tore while I was scoring with a blade, and it was like, okay, this is a bit strange. But now they're so much better. I mean, I think a lot of the newer guys to this hobby don't realise how bad the Pandora bodies used to be. I mean, I think I've had about 5 Pandora bodies, and the first 3 that I got were broken in the bag, like they'd split down the door. And so I just kept having to get refunds on them. And it was different models every time, so it wasn't just one mould. But now they're so much better than they used to be, and they're doing all the cool stuff with the Origin Lab and the BN Sports and stuff. They're not just doing the standard cars.
The early ones I had, they always had cloudy windows because they had, I think, wooden molds.
Yeah, you always had the lines.
Forming, you could still see it.
Yeah, you could see the grain of the wood in them.
Exactly, but that definitely got better over time. I mean, the first ones I had, they were horrible. The later ones I had, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
But still, I don't know, there's still some patches here and there where it's very thin.
Yeah.
But I think maybe then these multi-piece body shells will actually work a lot better because then they don't have to do such extreme pulls on the vacuum form.
Yeah.
So then actually the thickness stays pretty consistent.
We should probably ask.
Let's see.
We should probably ask the world's body champion Vivian what he thinks the Pandora bodies, and whether he's been impressed with them more recently, or I don't know, maybe he's not done too many. But yeah, let us know in chat. Anyway, there's another shot of the bonnet which has some crazy details on. This one I thought was interesting because I actually can't tell from this picture. I don't think they've cut those vents out, but it looks like they've added stickers to the vents and maybe cut them as well. Which is a bit weird, but on the next shot it looks a lot better because somebody's taken the time to cut through them. And also,
there's enough potential in this body shell.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
I mean
the extra detail,
the small vents towards the windscreen on that's some pretty serious dedication to get that out there because that to me is just straight where this gets split in a suitcase. That's what I always worry with. So I will never cut vents and I never cut front bumpers just because I need the strength. I need to know that if somebody stands on my suitcase, it's not going to crush the body or crack the body. But I think the details, particularly that red one, I think looks really, really nicely done.
The color really helps. I'm looking forward to seeing someone do one in a completely crazy livery with flames and chrome and whatever.
Yeah, full crazy
full on
livery
drift spec.
will look amazing, I think.
It suits it, I think.
Vivian says he's not a big fan of Pandora, which I'm assuming is for the same reasons we mentioned before.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've put the overlay up there with the sizes, so you can see it's a front 207, rear 204 width, so it's pretty wide.
That's something they've been doing lately. Also with the other that they're doing a bit wider front than the rear.
Yeah.
Which probably is due to everyone widening their front track, so it sort of fits now.
Yeah.
Instead of having to put over fenders on everything.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, I think even 207 is super narrow for most people's cars these days. Obviously, people are running camber, so you can get away with it a bit more. But I mean, the last couple of times I've been to Japan, people have been running 220 to 250 in front track.
250.
That was the super extreme period with the Aroha guys and Kembro settings, where there was one guy that's running 252, I think, at the front. But it's like everyone else is at least 225 for that style of driving, and then you go to most places. I mean, I think I'm about 220 or 218, depending on my settings.
With a lot of camber probably to make it fit.
With a reasonable amount, yeah, because I'm not even running over fenders. So generally I'm on about between 9 and 13 degrees, depending on the surface and tyre and stuff like that. But yeah, I think this is it's a nice effort with the GT86 for sure. I think there could be. I think the thing for me is that body looks cool. It's not the kind of body it's not the kind of body kit I'd put on a real GT86. It's a bit too extreme for my liking. I'm a big fan of more simple bodies with cooler paint. That's the style I prefer. But I think the current trend from 326 power and people like that is wild body kits. Just make them as extreme as you can get them. I mean, do you remember the old Euros R34 kit?
Yeah, with the wings in the front.
Yes, yeah. That was a bit crazy, and that was kind of when all of this stuff started to tickle in, I think. And it's cool. I mean, these are, this will have been an amazing body kit used at Tokyo Auto Salon for a demo car and stuff, I'm sure. And I guarantee somebody could send me 5 cool photos of cars with this body kit on. But my problem is always with GT86s. I love them. I had one. I had a real one. Big fan of them. I keep getting tempted to get another one, but I hate drifting with the bodies. I mean, Overdose make the high detail FRS, and I love it. But I can't drift them because they're too short front and rear for me. I prefer a 4-door.
For me, it's the same. I have multiple. I had one when I went to Japan because we had to have a Yokomo body shell for the edition, so I picked this one up. And I drove it a few times, but it's always, I don't know, it feels a little bit awkward to drive. Yeah. It's just not what I'm used to, I guess. I'm used to the 4-doors.
I think technically, in terms of a full-scale drift car, they're as good as it gets because they've got such short overhangs, so you can really tuck the car in next to another car. And I really probably should just get used to one. But it's so different to what I'm used to that I do a few laps and I'm like, nope, I'm out. And whenever I drive a customer's car or a friend's car that's got a GT86 body, I struggle because they're just so small. But I think at some point I'm going to do the high detail FRS from Overdose and try that out. I just need to think of a cool way to paint one, I think, for sure.
It always catches me out with the short rear overhang that I'm running a line and then I'm too far off the wall because I'm just used to, I don't know, having a big rear end, big flashy rear bumper on it, and yeah, it's just different. It's what you're used to, I guess. Plus, I think back when waffle time for Soul SC was a thing, I think we mentioned also the way it looks visually. So where the middle point, the center point of the chassis is compared to the body. And that's something with the coupe body shells that I just cannot figure out. Yeah. I used to have the RX-7 too with the long bonnet. Yeah. I don't know. It felt like it was understeering all the time, but that's just the way it looks.
It's funny because for a long time, that's what I wanted. So I ran the FC for, I don't know, 3 years or something like that exclusively because I loved it.
Yeah, you had multiple.
Every time I did a body, it was just another one. But then that was CS, and with the difference in movement between the CS cars and the rear-wheel drive cars, I want something different from the body. So for rear-wheel drive, I just almost exclusively run 4-doors. I had a GP Sports 180 that I quite liked, but it's a long body. I had a big overhang at the front, and it was a bit strange, but for me, like now it's just 4-door every time. And I do keep meaning to change that and just mix it up and try something new again. Like I had a buddy of mine, Ben, paint an A86 for me, and I've literally not used it. I put it on the car, and
those are not too bad actually.
No,
The overhangs and stuff, they're very comparable.
It works great, but it needs a different chassis, I think. It's because it needed massive over fenders to make it work on mine. Because it's just it was actually thinking about it. It was a Pandora one. I forgot about that when I was mentioning the others. That one came okay, but it came with a dented side skirt. So. Which works on a Corolla. It looks like it's been, it's been drifted into something or jacked in the wrong place or something, which most of them have got dents on the side skirts, so it's not a problem.
Yeah.
But yeah,
those don't even have side skirts, it's just the sails that you see, so
yes,
it makes sense that they're dented instead of cracked. So
right, shall we move on to your rare stuff?
Sure. I mean, let's move this one out of the way, because we were talking about 4-door shells, right?
Yes.
So I have a bunch of different stuff. So let's say that this was a question from Martin from RC Boss, the guy who runs the track at Cookies.
Yep.
And, I mean, he knows what we have in our collection, right? So he's
got an idea.
He's just giving us a bit of a push, I guess.
Giving us a nudge.
Yeah, I'll just walk through a bunch of different stuff. So feel free to comment on it. But we just talked about Uras.
Yep.
There you go, Uras.
That's
this is the drag wing,
the chunky one.
Yes, the good one. So this is the kind of stuff that I have laying around just for a project sometime in the future. I have no idea when I would ever use this, but I mean, it doesn't hurt to have it. And I've gotten offers for it already. People who want to buy it, people are looking for it. But
I was going to say that. Well, that's also the kind of thing that even if you don't end up wanting it, you can't pass up the opportunity to have it, because it might be your only opportunity to buy one ever again, and you may want one in the future. And even if you don't, you probably know 50 people that want it and have been looking for one.
Yeah.
So it's easy to get rid of should you need to. And looks like we may have lost Tijs. Let's see if this picks back up. I think what I'll do, we'll just do this, and I'm going to just send them a quick message. Here we go. And he's back. Just so you know, Tijs, you disappeared briefly then. So you're gonna have to, whatever you just said, you're going to have to repeat yourself, unfortunately.
Yeah, so this is the Wang & Wing from Speedway Pal, another one of those rare wing sets. And I have one more. Let's see where I'll get to it later. I buried it somewhere. But talking about the 4-door shells, your stuff won't fall. I don't know if you know this one. Maybe you've seen it already.
Yeah.
This is the Kazama Lexus IS GT. And I think this might have been the first one with those crazy aero kits.
I think you're probably right.
Actually. So same with the vents on the front, if you can see it. So this one's kind of a cool story, because I found this one after circuit when I went there in 2013.
Sorry, did you say Dr. Circuit?
Yeah. And I just bought it for the wing stays, because it had these Speedway Pal FC wing stays on it. And I think the whole body shell with the wing and everything included was like 15 euros, 20 euros. But why this one's really cool, and I hope you can see it on the camera. Do you see the dragon that's on the roof?
Yeah, man.
So that one's etched into the body shell before it was painted.
That's pretty cool.
This guy did some crazy bodies. And I think the sides also have it. There's like another demon on this side. And then the other side, same story. Bit of airbrushing going on. And the paint isn't perfect, but I just loved the way it looked. And the roof, just for that, it's already worth it.
Yeah, man.
Plus these shells are pretty hard to get right now. So
it looks like a super solid shell as well.
Oh, it's super solid, not just because of the body kit, but also because it's full of glue.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see it, but I think he used like window glue for cars, the black stuff, and it's super heavy. There was like a whole roll of metal wire in the front to mimic an intercooler or something. It was super heavy.
I spotted two things on that body that are very cool: the Solar C sticker in the window and the 3D printed exhaust.
The 3D printed exhaust, so that's a bit crazy.
Yeah,
there's six of them right there.
And are they your design?
Yeah, they are. Yeah. So I wanted something crazy for this body shell, so I just made these.
Yeah,
it's fun. I mean, it had the bumper cut already for pretty big exhaust, so might as well. And then a big wing. So this is also fiberglass, the wing itself.
Is it?
Which is kind of cool. It is, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it's just carbon covered or something.
No, so Yokomo did the full carbon wing at some point, and
Yeah.
Speedway Pal as well. And I think this is basically a copy of that, but then in fiberglass. So you can see the inlay.
That's pretty
which
cool.
sort of matches the
I was going to say, it's kind of cool, but in a bit of a sort of just unusual way rather than actually being cool.
Exactly. It's an unusual body shell, so it sort of fits. Another 4-door, and this one you'll probably like. Oh, something dropped on the floor there. It's this one. So
yeah.
It looks like your regular Overdose 2, but actually it's the old one, the HPI, with
the proper
lights
lenses
and the grill. So these are pretty difficult to find now, and let me just take it out, because then you can see.
Was that what dropped on the floor? The other one?
The other one, yeah. So this is why this is cool, because you have the lens and the bucket. So you cut out the lights itself from the body, and you have the lens with all the details.
Yeah.
This is from before you had the wrap up stickers and stuff like that.
And it's also, I think it's also a step above the stickers as well. It looks so much better because it essentially mimics how they're actually constructed.
If you cut the body shell right, because that's very tricky. It doesn't actually match up completely with the lines on the body. Okay. So you have to sand and mess around with it a little bit. But like this, just the lights itself, that's why I bought this body shell, because I have another one brand new on the shelf, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
I've never had one of those bodies, and to be honest, I keep thinking about grabbing one just because they're just a wider version. Essentially,
they're super wide. Yeah, they're like 210mm wide.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. But also in the rear, which is why I don't really like driving them too much. I know Ricardo, my teammate, he exclusively drives with these.
Yeah.
But this was a fun one, because you have to be able to spot this, because the previous owner used the stickers over the lenses.
Ah, okay.
So no one was bidding on this body shell.
So you got this from Japan?
In a set with four different body shells for like 25 euros.
Jesus.
The lights alone.
I was going to say, I wonder what they would cost normally, because it's got to be at least 4 times that, I think, probably.
Just for the lights alone, yeah. If they're new in pack, and these are actually, this thing was never driven, just built. I think you're going well over 100 euros just for the lights. And now I have 4 body shells and the lights. So these are the fun things to find on auctions.
Jamie's asking in chat if you're still printing more exhausts.
Yes, I am. So I always have my Shapeways shop still open. I don't really promote it too much, but if you want it, you can always find the link on my Facebook or something, or just message me.
Yeah.
I probably also have some in stock, so if you ever see me around on an event, just ask and I'll bring some. So there's plenty of different models. This one, the Bosozoku style ones, clean ones, classic ones. I have the what's it called? The lobster tail, the one that's pointing down.
Yeah.
Like they have in D1 GP. Bunch of different ones. So if you want any, then just give me a shout.
What's the cost on them normally? Does it vary a lot?
It's not cheap. Let me put it like that. I mean, probably for a set of 2, you're talking 15 euros. So I think it's comparable to if you would get aluminium ones or steel ones. It is plastic. You still have to paint them, which I can do for you, but then it's definitely not going to be cheap.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool to have something different, and they're super lightweight, which is why I like them compared to an aluminium one or
for sure. Well, that's the reason I don't run exhausts on my bodies anymore. It's just the weight thing. So I may end up actually grabbing some off you. I think I meant to mention it before we went to cookies, but forgot all about it, to be honest.
Yeah. I usually print them with as thin of a wall that I can do, so they're super lightweight.
Yeah.
The only thing that's pretty solid is where you screw it onto the holder. That's it.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can get into 3D printing later in another episode as well. If anyone
for sure, man.
Interested. So,
that's probably at least a full episode on its own.
Yeah, send a comment or a question if you want to see that. Then I'll dig some stuff out of my stock. Shall we go through a few more things?
Yeah, man. Yeah, go for it.
So one of the things that I've been looking into is old CS chassis, because I think it's fun to have sort of a history of RC drifting here.
Yeah, for sure.
I have the TT01 drift spec. That's where it all started. But this here is an original Street Jam OTA-R, whatever it's called, version 2. So this was like one of the cool things to have when CS was just starting.
Yeah.
It's based on a Tamiya TA05. Has the TRF dampers, which we all used to get because it was the only good thing around.
Yeah, it was the best option
for choice. But yeah, it's been upgraded. It has different center pulleys, which was the main thing with CS. You see the black one there is probably square.
Yeah.
And this is from the time when we still had C-hubs and stuff. So the suspension is all traditional race car stuff.
Is it
a bit more caster?
spool in the back and boarded front, or?
Yes, it is. So it has the upgraded Tamiya spool. In the back, you see it's very thin, and in the front is one way.
Ah, cool.
This was the go-to setup for any CS car back in the early days, and it has a lot of flex for a carbon chassis. It's cut. It's
also, I was going to say, it's really open around the motor as well.
It is, yeah.
That's maybe the smallest amount of carbon holding the deck together I've ever seen.
Yeah, and this is also not very traditional. A carbon fiber motor mount.
Yeah, not a fan.
It's great because it's super stiff, but it will not cool very well.
Yeah, it's one thing. Just to sort of derail it a little bit. I hate the carbon motor mounts. They obviously don't conduct the heat so well, but they inherently have a load of flex in them, even if they're bolted pretty well. And almost every motor failure that we see has, well, I say that's an exaggeration, but most motor failures we see have been on something with the carbon motor mount, because if the motor is doing this and the carbon motor mount flexes a little bit as you accelerate, it just pushes the pinion into the spur gear, which pushes the rotor into the back of the case, and it just causes problem after problem. But
or just ripping up the gears. It might also flex the other way around.
Yeah, for sure. But anyway,
especially on the high motor stuff, like this one's bolted on multiple directions, so it's probably quite stiff, but especially the high motor mounts, which are only bolted on the bottom, it will probably flex quite a bit.
It flexes loads. So where did you pick this chassis up anyway? Getting back to it.
This is Yahoo Auctions.
Yeah.
So
is that where most of this stuff came from?
Some of it. Other stuff I've had in my years. Some of the stuff I picked up in Japan, like the body shell, when we were there with the trip with the Chujin.
Yeah.
There's this shop called what is it? Super Rajikon or no?
The Rajikon
Tengoku.
That's the one.
That's the one. Full of secondhand stuff. So I remember Jens pulling a chassis off the wall, going like, "Hey, this looks like something for you," and I put it in my basket without checking the price. Like, no way, this is mine.
Yeah.
So that. Again, something for a next episode to talk about how you can buy stuff from Japan. Because
for sure.
There's amazing deals on Yokomo and Overdose stuff as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's
older.
It's something that, to me, it's not so much about the deals. It's about finding the stuff you just aren't going to find somewhere else. That's what I've bought mostly from auction sites, is the stuff that is long discontinued and you haven't seen for sale in a long time. I mean, I recently bought a Vertex Verosa body, which I've been looking for years, and it was Rob Fischetti just happened to post something up on Facebook, and there you go, there's an auction link, and I had to spend a fortune to buy it, but I got a body that I've been unable to buy for, I think it was 7 years. I've been trying to get one of those, so that's what the auction sites are best for me. Yeah,
for limited edition stuff, old stuff, I never buy anything. I mean, it's probably more expensive that way because of fees and so on.
Yeah.
But usually just rare stuff, limited editions. I mean, if you want one of those Overdose, what do you call it, setup boards?
You mean one of these?
Especially the early ones.
Yes, this is the later version.
Yeah.
But
especially the early ones, the very first ones. If you want one of those, then
they were one of 300, so you're not going to see them that commonly available. And the version I've got was one of 500.
If you're going to find it, it's probably there.
Yeah, sure.
I assume. Yeah, and a few other things. One thing that I have plenty of is wheels. So we were just talking about the R-Spec wheels, right? Super soft for grip. This is the complete opposite. I don't know if you can tell, but this is actually carbon fiber. So these are the Speedway Pal wheels, but they're super stiff. Like you cannot flex these whatsoever. So this is Did
you say it's carbon reinforced plastic?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So it looks like some of the suspension components you have sometimes.
I've actually never seen those. I didn't know they did them. When you pulled them out, I assumed they were going to be aluminium.
No, they're it's hard to see on the camera, but you can see the grain in plastic.
And how are they? How are they in weight compared to a normal wheel? Any significant difference?
No, very similar. Maybe even a little bit lighter, but not much. But yeah, these are again something that you cannot buy new anymore. The Speedway PAL wheels.
Yeah.
And they're yeah, it's something you won't run, but it looks great and it's fun to have. More classics are these. I don't know if you can tell. They're the Kawada. They're called inch up wheels. I used to drift these when we had CS. So these are like a bigger diameter lip on the rim. So you're
just on the outer
like
rim.
Just the outer lip, yeah. So if you see them from the side, you see that just the lip is sticking up.
That looks pretty cool.
So then it looks like you're running, let's say, 20-inch or 21-inch wheels on your car.
Yeah.
And these actually have good offset, so these are very usable still, even though they're probably 15.
And what offset were those? I didn't see. 6.
They're about 6 millimeters. It says 16 on the label. It's probably hard to see.
Okay.
But it's not. It's somewhere between 5 and 6.
Oh, I was going to say, does that not mean it's 8, and they're just combining the axle?
No, it includes the lip as well. So without the lip, like your tire sits somewhere around 6 millimeter offset.
Okay.
So this would actually work on a modern car too. And then there's this kind of cool stuff. So this is less of a drift thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can look straight through. These are see-through wheels.
That's pretty cool. You need to run those with some LEDs behind them.
Yeah, and they come in different colors too. So I have pretty much the entire set. So they came in different models, different colors, and I have.
And are they
this high?
Are they standard diameter or are they smaller? Because being clear,
normal.
they look tiny.
No, it's probably just because of the color.
Yeah.
But they're a normal 110 scale wheel. These are 2 mil offset. Which
and
is
when
not
are they?
visible.
How old are they? When did they come out?
These are relatively new. I think they're from 2008 or something. But I also have the really old ones from. So. Yeah. Wheels are something you never have enough of. I keep buying new ones, keep putting them on the shelf, and every now and then you find something that really works with your body shell that you're building. So
yeah, for sure.
It's always good to have. And,
what's next on the pile?
More wheels. So these are the Ferrari F40 style wheels.
Okay.
I've seen some people actually cut these up to put the lip in front, so you have the dish for VIP body shells.
Yeah.
Because they actually come in 2 different widths. So you have the standard size, that's this one, 26, and then 31 or 32. So you can cut these up and make super cool VIP style wheels if you have some classic Bipu style.
So when are you doing
cars. That? I don't know. I had extra to cut up, but I sold them to someone.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I don't know. I have so much stuff that usually I find something else before I dare opening these packages, or just order something new. That's usually what happens. Yeah, and I have plenty of more wheels. We can go through these. These are M's Racing, M's products, something like that. These are super cool, and I've been looking for an extra set of these because I think these are 8 mil offset, but because we were using these at one of the tracks in Japan and like pressing tires on and off the whole time, I think they're pretty warped. So
yeah,
I want more of these because they're.
And
cool.
Is it just the design you like, or?
They have very very concave spokes.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, nice handy for anyone wanting to keep their wheel sets together. Just use a zip tie.
Yeah.
Just stick it through, fold it over, and put it back in, and it holds pretty strong.
I used to buy the Kawada wheel holders, and
I have them as well.
They're fine, but they're too much hassle and
if you have this many wheels, it's going to be tricky.
Yes, for
sure. You have to buy a lot of them.
Yeah.
Zip ties everyone has, and then maybe the last thing is. But this one's not built, so it's hard to see, but this is really the classic style, which actually is coming back now. If you're looking at all the new Pandem stuff, this is
I see.
This is the kind of wings they're putting on there.
Yeah.
So you have like the 2 different decks, and then the sides, if you can see.
Yeah. So there's just 2 options for the width.
Yeah. So you can do M chassis or normal side.
I thought that was a crazy double stacked wing. I was like, what the hell?
that would be good, actually.
Yeah.
Maybe I should make one of those.
Yeah, 3D print custom mounts. The wide bottom deck and the thin top deck.
just stacking Yokomo decks on top of each other.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and that's it. That's the pile. I have plenty more, but I'll keep some for later.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, we figured with the Tijs' rare collection this week, and maybe look at mine next week or in a future episode. I haven't had a chance.
You also have plenty of stuff to show, probably.
I've probably got less than you, that's for sure, but I've got some nice parts for sure.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that in a future episode, I guess. So, so what's your plans? When have you got any RC events coming up?
I have a buggy race coming up. So this month has been pretty hectic. Drifting. Then last weekend was racing, and then not next week, but the week after is vintage buggy racing. So,
Okay, and where's that? Local or?
It's going to be in Limburg, so on the border with Germany.
Cool.
It's organized by some German guys. Some of the drivers from UK are coming over, even some ex-factory drivers from Schumacher and
that's pretty cool.
So that's going to be exciting. Still have the car to build. So
yeah, what car is that?
I'm running front-wheel drive in the two-wheel drive class, Kyosho Maxim, which is pretty special. Probably going to break. It's not. It's not made for brushless.
I never realised you were such a car breaker, Tijs.
It's all the old stuff. It's what happens with racing. Drifting's fine.
Yeah. I was gonna say I don't break stuff, rarely anyway. Yeah. Very occasionally.
Yeah. Go buggy racing, then we'll talk. Yeah. So that's coming up for me.
Cool, man. Well, I think this weekend I'm probably going to go to Slide House, I think, which is a UK track in Lincolnshire, I believe it is. I haven't 100% decided on my plans. It depends on some family stuff and which day I'm going to be free. But I think the plan is to go to Slide House this weekend. So hopefully, I'm going to try and make it a bit of a habit to just get some footage at each track and post up a clip as often as I can. I'm trying to put some effort into getting some YouTube content up. I'm also planning this week, for the rest of my week, in the evenings, I'm planning on making a video about the new Jarvis XX. Unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to start it yet, but the plan is to get that done this week, at least filmed. Editing is proving to be a bit of a pain in the backside since my Adobe Premiere decided it just wanted to crash every time I did any export about anything for 3 days, and then I found out I had a problem with my memory, so I put some new memory in, and that's fine, but fingers crossed that's it. But I have a sneaky feeling I'm going to spend a lot of time filming stuff and then struggle with something in editing because it's all kind of new to me, but we'll get there.
Break out the Windows Movie Maker.
Yep. Or just do it all on my phone.
Still exists. Yeah.
But yeah, so
cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to see some footage of that. I think it would be nice to get some drift videos up on the channel too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've been to Slide House many times, a bunch of times, and it's another small track. But I think a lot of the tracks we have here in the UK are generally quite small. I think we've only really got one or two that I would consider good to large size. But it's fun. It's again good vibes. It gets a lot of people coming from all over the country, and yeah, it's just a fun thing. So fingers crossed I can get some nice footage. I'm going to hopefully keep improving with the videos I can make, and I'm just going to keep posting as many as I can. So if you like them, jump on and subscribe, and sharing videos always helps. If I see people watching them, I'll keep making them. It's simple as it goes, and hopefully learn some new skills and get better at the same time.
All right, cool. Looking forward to seeing that.
Awesome.
So I think that's a good moment to wrap it for this week's episode.
Yeah, for sure.
We're just over an hour in, so that's great. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to send them out throughout the week.
Yeah, you can.
Any topics you want to be discussed, because we're always happy to.
You can post them on post them in a comment on any of the videos, or send me a message, Paige a message, whatever, or Tijs a message, and we'll see if we can accommodate it in the next episode next week. One of the things we'd like to do is we had to answer sort of technical questions and stuff as well. So even if it's just a quick one, it doesn't need to be a subject to discuss and have a debate about. It can be a quick, how do you do this, or have you got any suggestions for this part or anything like that? We're happy to help with whatever we can.
Yeah, some quick tech tips, or maybe a specific component you're confused by. We're happy to.
Or something you're struggling to get your head around. For sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay,
cool.
Guys.
Then,
well, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week.
All right. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.